you know?
I'm a little out of the game. Are most people just dating because they're looking for housing now? Is that basically what's going on?
At the very least, I'm pretty
staying. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just like, I didn't just see his house and was like, oh, I want to move in. It was like, I already had my own place, and he asked me, hey, do you want to move in? And so that's what I did. So we started our relationship off like that.
Was that the case for you? You moved in early on for financial reasons?
No.
I've definitely seen these memes online of people like trying to get linked up in a relationship to save money on rent. Have you seen those?
I've seen that. I hope he's not watching.
No, I did
That's
not
him.
pay no bills.
But
too, so.
that doesn't give me the ick as, like, you know what I mean? Because you had your own place, then he asked you to move in with him. Mm-hmm. That's, like, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
you know?
Also, let's just...
But the other way around, it's
that'd
kind
be
of weird.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be really weird.
Let's define what the ick is. What is the ick? What is ick? How do you define the ick? Is there a difference between ick and the ick? What is the? I don't know.
The ick is when
Is that
you
an
feel
adjective?
gross about something,
Wait,
and then
I
there's
don't-
just no going back. Your opinion on that person or whatever it is can't be changed because you were just so grossed out or weirded out by it.
Yeah.
I know if you don't clean your aquarium water enough, you get ick.
You get
ick in the
but you
aquarium,
get
for
the
real.
ick, or do you get ick?
The fish get the ick.
They get the
You
ick.
gotta clean the
Dave,
ick.
I'm not
see.
sure you're clear
like-
on.
like if
Am I
you-
talking about something else? All right.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it the ick also is it's just a switch randomly. Like you
Right.
feel fine and then and then there's no going back.
Have you felt the ick before?
I think every girl has.
I think so. I think it's when your brain switches from thinking like this is a potential mate to no,
I
this
feel
is
like
not.
it might be the equivalent. Cause I don't know because I'm not a dude, but it could be the equivalent to post-nut clarity, maybe.
Oh, goodness.
I'm not sure
But there is
about
going
that.
back because you could get horny again. So never mind, maybe. But it's just kind of like ew.
Yeah.
There's postcoital rage where a man gets angry after an orgasm, and
That's odd.
Wait,
yeah,
Yeah?
they get and I have to ask
using
it.
You know
Wait,
that
what?
from experience.
Yeah.
I've had that experience. Yeah.
Have you, Dave? Have
They-
you?
no.
Have you? I've
just
never.
shut it down. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But there's this.
Wow.
Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle has a joke. I think it's related to Louis C.K. But a man who has just ejaculated is the least threatening motherfucker there is.
That's what I thought.
Fair enough.
Unless
you don't
you
have
have
as much
trauma.
testosterone.
Yeah.
There's trauma.
yeah.
Unless you have
Trauma?
trauma, like sexual trauma.
And I-
yeah.
You climax
Right.
and then you
So
just
this happens
start
a lot at the bunny ranch.
a rash.
Not
is-
a lot.
is this
This
common?
happens in the regular war.
Is this
in
a
the regular-
Is
workplace
this how that
hazard?
place burned down?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
think
Hold on.
She
Just a sec.
estimated
One sec.
$99.
Yeah, thank you,
Did
Cheeks.
the guy that move in with that female not only have bad financial problems, but was he also in 300 credit score with the IRS coming after him? No way in my desperate broke days would I move in with such a creature.
You don't even have a credit card.
Such a creature.
So how long have you guys been together?
3 months.
3 months. He's just now starting to pay a little bit of rent.
Yeah.
Or?
You should pay all the bills.
A month in.
But I pay
he-
for food. I pay for I drive him.
Do you like that arrangement?
We're gonna get better, hopefully.
It's working. It's look. It's working.
when? I just had a conversation with him yesterday about it, but we're gonna just see what happens.
But I mean, you really like him,
Yeah.
right? You like him, and you feel as though it's worth it because you really like the guy.
I want to bring
A
out the
week
man.
is a bit early,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I do feel like moving in after just a week.
It was we were both in a situation where we kind of needed to move
Okay.
in. Same with her. We were all in a situation we needed to just move. So it kind of
Okay.
worked
Like the
out.
perfect
Yeah, it's like
match.
college.
Literally,
Yeah.
yeah.
College.
Wait, but you said you moved 4 or 5 times in the past.
3 times.
3 times in the past 3 months.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It just didn't work out with the roommates, and then yeah.
Like you didn't like them, or
Yeah. Well, the first
they
one.
Roommates
smelled
from hell?
funny?
The first ones we were too loud, and then they said we were gonna get evicted if we didn't move out. So we moved, and then the next ones they were too messy, and we just didn't really get along that well. And I had my boyfriend at my house all the time, and they didn't really like that.
Yeah.
And then this is the third house.
Okay. Good times.
What's
good
the
times.
appropriate time that people usually wait before they move in with someone, though?
Marriage.
I
Yeah,
would
I
say
agree,
I think most people
marriage.
probably do it in the first 6 months. No.
When
No.
you know
I
it's till
don't-
death
well-
do you part, because now you don't have to deal with moving out and You're just putting yourself in a vulnerable situation with someone that you're not sure if you're spending your life with. That just doesn't seem like a smart idea.
If you buy a
Practice.
place together, I think it would be vulnerable. But if you're just renting and you move in together, you're
there's
probably
like
fine.
just this level of familiarity that I don't want to have with my boyfriend before we're married.
Yeah.
Like I want there to be at least some mystery there.
If you're,
Oh, hell no.
Where I want him to see me at my best, you know?
if you look at statistics
And that's why you wouldn't move in,
too,
like, until you're married?
It's one of the reasons, yeah.
if you
I
look
feel
at
like if you want to know if your relationship's going to be like resilient, I feel like you probably should move in together so you can really see if you guys are compatible, like cohabitating in the same space.
I believe that you can get to know someone well enough without moving in together.
I agree.
And in fact, there are extra pressures that are introduced once you move in together that are not helpful to discerning a lifelong commitment with someone.
That's what I was going to say about
Can I
that.
add something? Okay. If you look at statistics too, your relationship or your marriage is likely going to last longer if you wait it out and you don't move in
That's
together.
actually
So
true.
if you care about this guy, or if you're a guy and you care about the girl and you want the relationship to last, it's not a bad idea to look at the statistics and follow them.
I've seen those stats, but I know that there's going to be selection bias because the people who are more likely to abstain from living together before they get married are also usually religious. And most religious people are also going to be resistant to like separating or getting divorced. So that kind of skews that statistic. I think most people, you know,
That's a good
society is
argument.
becoming like
I didn't think
increasingly
about that.
like secular and
But
atheist.
do you think that like defines the statistic is just religious people?
No, it's just a bias
So-
to keep in mind.
Yeah, but I don't think it makes a big enough
Grid
difference.
1
Hold on just a
Motorsports
sec.
donated $100.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
For
it.
men, moving in with a woman too early is a risk. A year lease with a soul sucker 2000 as a roommate can destroy your life. Not something to do right out of the gate. Honestly, if her toothbrush appears in the first month, bail.
Thank you, Grid 1 Motorsports. Much appreciated.
I think also if you need to end a relationship, you're less likely to when you have this financial pressure of moving out. So if there is a good reason to end a relationship, you're going to feel like, oh, but then I'll have to pay my own rent. I can't split rent anymore. All these different things. So that can keep you in an
agree,
unhealthy situation.
You also
Those financial pressures are going to exist even in marriage, though. Like people who would probably be better off separating and not being married any longer are probably more likely to remain in a relationship that's not satisfying for them, just for financial reasons, which is to me not the best
Well,
or like
I mean,
good
I don't
reason to
believe
stay in
that a
true
marital
marriage.
relationship exists to satisfy each individual and make you feel
it's not about you,
individually
is what she's
fulfilled.
saying.
It's about the other person.
My doctor
That's what I
told me
think.
I shouldn't ever live alone, like with my conditions. So they said you should never live alone, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Also, when you move in with them early, it's hard to know if you're like moving in with the person or with how the person's making you feel. And the way that person is making you feel is likely going to change. So it's just a better idea to wait it out, get to know the person, and really know who you're moving in with.
When you say it's going to change, do you mean like in a negative direction or positive?
It's possible. It's possible that the way that you feel about the person is going to change in a negative direction, and now you're not going to feel very good in your own home, and you're going to want to get out. It happens.
The opposite could happen too. I think
It could, but that's why you wait it out and figure out to see.
But I don't think that reason alone would be a reason to not move in together or like before marriage, or I guess just quickly, because you could always discover something about your partner that you're like either gives you the ick or makes you not like them anymore.
It's
and
one
feelings
of
can
many
change.
reasons why you shouldn't move in with them early.
Ever. Like
I
until
mean,
you get married?
There's circumstances where I guess, but it's if you look at the statistics, you shouldn't move in, and the exception doesn't really make the rule.
I mean, personally,
Just not a good idea.
What I practice and what I believe is abstinence until marriage. So for anyone who has that value and aspires toward that, living together is not a good idea.
Probably
Just
not,
pragmatically, it's a bad idea. So that's another reason why I don't live with my boyfriend.
7 Deadly Simps donated $100.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Hey, Erin. Here's hoping you don't get kicked off again. Speaking of which, are you still a virgin? Have you done the deed yet? Shagged, boned, banged, screwed, nailed, scored, smashed. boarded the beef bus. 777 decillion.
Oh my God.
777.
All right, thank you, Sid. Do you want to?
777 octillion 700.
Do you want to answer the question there?
If I was still a virgin, I never said I was
told anyone.
I would say I didn't say I was a virgin.
Well, that-
quintillion, 777 quadrillion,
That's kind of what
777
people were kind of
trillion,
assuming.
777 billion,
right, let's just wait this out.
777,777,777.
Do you want to answer the?
Yeah. You think people assumed from your community that I was a virgin? I saw way more speculation that like, she's probably got a train ran through her. That's why she doesn't want to fucking answer.
Which college did you go to?
I went to UTRGV.
Do they have like a D1 basketball team? Or?
No.
Oh, okay, football team or?
No.
Is that D3 or?
Oh, I don't no clue. Like,
Okay.
It's part of the UT Austin network or whatever. I know people care about like the Longhorns or whatever, but UTRGV is just like a border university. It's part of that system though.
Okay.
Not known for sports, no. No Greek. I don't think we have Greek life either. So.
Yeah, just bringing it back to the whole cohabitation thing, and to Grid One Motorsports, his TTS. I do think it's certainly a risk to move in way too early because you don't know the person well enough yet, and you've basically. I'm almost looking at it from a legal liability point of view, where you basically have established a tenancy, and if you don't like this person, you may have to go through the process of actually evicting this person who.
We're not on the lease.
Restraining order. All
Even-
that.
We're not on the
Squatters'
lease.
rights. If they stay there like 30 days.
Well, you guys aren't on the lease
No.
where?
At our house.
Yeah, but you guys are legally, whether you have a written lease or not,
They're a tenant.
you're
Yeah.
a
No,
tenant.
Yes,
I
if
mean,
they've had a piece of mail delivered to your residence in their name or they've been there for like 30 days, I think that establishes tenancy. And if
Yeah.
you wanted them to leave, you would have to go to like a court to have them evicted formally.
No,
No,
they're on the
any-
lease, but
Anything. It's because we're not allowed.
we're not technically.
We're not allowed.
Well, it doesn't
Because
matter. You're
it-
technically, in the eyes of the law, you're technically
Yeah.
tenants.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you like move in your girlfriend or you move in with her, from the male perspective, if you have some girl who you just met moved into your house and you haven't properly vetted her, and it doesn't work out romantically, she technically could stay there and you would have to evict her, and that could take months to get her out. Meanwhile, you don't know what the situation could be. So
What if it's like, because what you're talking about I think is really volatile, where if it's like you
Sure.
just happen into it because they didn't leave, like, oh, they just stayed and then after 30 days or whatever, then that's the situation. But what if like a couple after like 2 months is like, we want to move out of our own places and move in together, sign a lease and do it properly? Would you say that's as volatile?
2 months is certainly a longer screening process than 1 week. I still think I would wait much longer than that though. So.
Like